believe that's 22?
Yes.
May I publish on?
You may.
Now, Ms. Wells, do you remember how that gun was positioned in the back, or where it was positioned in the vehicle?
Yes.
Where was it positioned in the vehicle?
It was positioned in the pocket that was on the back of the passenger side front seat.
Okay, and do you remember which way the handle was or where the handle was?
Yes, the barrel was facing downward, and the front or the top part of the firearm, the slide, would have been facing towards the driver's side of the vehicle.
I'm showing you if you want to come up here. He doesn't.
What are the numbers or letters of the exhibits we're looking at?
These would be L, N, T, and M.
Thank you.
I have no objection to any of these being admitted.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't have any objections, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. There's no objection to any of the four.
I'm showing you first what's been marked as Exhibit L. As you take a look at that.
Okay.
You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that to be?
I recognize this. I had placed in this envelope a live round, 9mm, that was in the chamber of the Taurus pistol.
Your Honor, I'm moving into evidence Exhibit L at this time.
All right. Both counsel have indicated there's no objection. It'll be the next numbered exhibit, number 21.
I'm showing you Exhibit N.
23? I'm sorry. You're 23.
Okay?
You recognize Exhibit N?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that to be?
In this envelope, I had placed a live round, 9mm, that was in the chamber of the Springfield Armory pistol.
Your Honor, I'd move into evidence Exhibit N at this time.
It is number 24.
Showing you it's been marked as Exhibit T. You
Okay.
recognize that?
Yes.
What do you recognize that to be?
I had placed in this envelope a magazine and a total of 16 live rounds that were collected from the Taurus pistol.
Move into evidence Exhibit T at this time, Your Honor.
Be admitted as number 25. They've indicated there's no objection.
And then I'm showing you Exhibit M.
Okay?
You recognize Exhibit M?
Yes.
What do you recognize that to be?
In this envelope, I had placed a magazine and a total of 7 live rounds that were collected from the Springfield Armory pistol.
Your Honor, I move into evidence Exhibit M at this time.
Once again, there's been no objection. It'll be admitted as number 26.
Now, in regards to that second firearm that was recovered, did you perform any testing on that?
Yes, I did.
And what testing did you do?
I swabbed the textured areas of the firearm for touch DNA, and then I processed the remaining areas of the firearm for latent fingerprints.
Okay. In regards to this firearm, were you able to develop any fingerprints?
No, I was not.
And again, going back to you process it for touch DNA, what do you do?
Basically what I do is I take the giant Q-tips, remove them from their sterile package. I then take one of the Q-tips and put a drop of water on it and rub that over the textured areas, all of them combined. I then take the second swab, which is dry, and go behind the same areas and swab. Both swabs then get placed into a swab box in the holders that prevent the swabs from touching each other or the interior sides of the box to prevent contamination. Then the air holes in the box allow for the swabs to dry. That box is folded all up and it's placed into a package which is labeled and sealed.
Okay. Do you do any more testing after that?
No, I do not.
Do you know what happens with those swabs after that?
I would submit them to FDLE if needed, and the analyst would do their process.
Okay. Now, after recovering those firearms, did you continue in processing the vehicle?
No, I just had taken the photographs, collected it, and then the vehicle was sealed to prepare it for towing.
Okay. What's the next thing you did in terms of your investigation at that point?
On scene, I was then requested by Ocoee police detectives to take photographs of specific items of interest on the interior of the residence.
Okay, and do you recall specifically what areas that you were asked to photograph from that residence?
Yes.
And what areas?
I was requested to photograph a gaming system in the living room area of the residence, and then there was a bedroom in the residence directly off the living room. I was requested to photograph a bag that had miscellaneous belongings in the bag, and that bag was located on the bed in the bedroom. And then I was asked to photograph a book bag that was lying on the floor that contained laptop computers.
Okay, let me show you what's in evidence as Exhibit 9, photograph number 8. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
What do you recognize that to be?
This is the front of the residence at 4117 Maple Grove Drive, looking in towards the living room area.
Again, the same exhibit. This would be photograph number 6. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
Again, what do you recognize that to be?
I recognize this to be a photograph showing part of the living room of the residence and then the entrance into the bedroom that I photographed the items in.
Same exhibit. This would be photograph number 5. You recognize that?
Yes.
What do you recognize that to be?
This appears to be the bedroom that I photographed the items in.
Same exhibit, photograph number 4. You recognize that?
Yes.
What do you recognize that to be?
This is a photograph showing the bag containing miscellaneous belongings that I was requested to photograph in the bedroom of the residence.
Same exhibit, photograph number 3. You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that to be?
This is a photograph showing the backpack that was lying on the ground, kind of in and out the closet that was in the bedroom of the residence.
Same exhibit, photograph number 2. Hang on, let me try to focus. You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that to be?
I recognize this to be a closer view of the backpack that was laying on the floor of the bedroom in the residence.
And then same exhibit, this would be photograph number 1. You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that to be?
I recognize this to be a closer view of the backpack, specifically showing the laptops that were in the backpack.
Okay, what did you do in terms of your investigation after that?
After that, I cleared the scene, and I was done for that day.
At some point after that day, were you asked to continue to process the vehicle?
Yes, I was.
And do you remember when that was?
I would have to refer to my report to be sure.
You have your copy of your report there?
Yes. Okay.
Do you recall what day it was you were asked to continue to process the vehicle?
Yes, it was the following day of May 10th, 2012.
Okay, and what happened, or where was the vehicle processed that next day?
The vehicle was stored in a secure garage bay at Car Store Tow Yard. So I responded there, met with a detective of Ocoee Police Department, and processed the vehicle there.
Now, in terms of processing the vehicle, again, this is the next day. What's the first thing that you do?
The first thing I did was I took photographs of the vehicle, showing the vehicle as it was and showing that the seals that I had placed on the vehicle were still intact. And then I processed the exterior of the vehicle for latent fingerprints. And then I moved to the interior of the vehicle where I took photographs. I collected swabs for DNA, processed the interior for latents, and collected evidence.
I'm showing you what's been marked as Exhibit H. There's actually 11 photos on this. I ask you to take a look at those.
Okay?
Do you recognize those photos?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize those photos to be?
I recognize the photos to be photos that I took of the vehicle and items within the vehicle.
And again, they fairly and accurately depict the condition of the vehicle when you examined it the next day.
Yes.
And I'm moving to Evidence Exhibit H at this time.
H?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Davis, any objection? You may. Sorry about that.
H, pages 1 through 10. Numbers will be the same. We're taking out this photograph, which was number 3. This was number 3.
We're remarking Mr. Malik, is that
Yes,
what
sir.
we're doing? Okay. Mr. Malik, this is Exhibit H, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Exhibit H, 10 photos.
10 photographs?
Yes, Your Honor. Just take a look at those.
Okay.
You recognize those photos?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize them to be?
I recognize them to be photographs of the vehicle and items on the interior of the vehicle.
Okay. And do they fairly and accurately depict what was found in the vehicle on the day that you searched it?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm moving to evidence Exhibit H at this time.
Okay. Reserving your objection, Mr. Davis. Any other objections?
Yes, no objections.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Clark, you indicated no objection. All right, they will be admitted as the next numbered exhibit.
Number 27.
Thank you.
May I publish, Your Honor?
You may.
Showing you evidence number 27. This would be photograph number 10. What is this photograph of?
This is a photograph of the front exterior of blue Monte Carlo vehicle that originally I had observed at 4117 Maple Grove Drive in Orlando.
And same exhibit, photograph number 9. What is that?
This is a photograph showing the passenger side area, again, the exterior of the vehicle that was at the residence.
Photograph number 7. What is that a photograph of?
This is a photograph on the interior of the vehicle, passenger side front. Specifically, this is the glove box.
Photograph number 6. What is that a photograph of?
This is a photograph showing the interior of the glove box in the vehicle.
Photograph number 5. What is that a photograph of?
This is a close-up photograph of the vehicle registration that was in the glove box on the interior of the vehicle.
Photograph number 4. What is that a photograph of?
This is a photograph of a wallet that was in the glove box on the interior of the vehicle.
Okay, was that the same glove box that we saw previously?
Yes, it was.
Photograph number 3. What is that a photograph of?
This is a close-up of the driver license that was in the wallet in the glove box on the interior of the vehicle.
Now, did you collect those items?
Yes, I collected the wallet.
I'm showing you what's been marked as Exhibit K. Ask you to take a look at that.
Okay?
Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that to be?
I had placed in this envelope a driver license for Bessman Okafor that was in the wallet. And again, the wallet was inside the glove box on the interior of the vehicle.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to go ahead and open up, or just cut the top one.
Okay?
And do you recognize what's in there?
Yes, I do.
And what's in there?
It is the Florida driver's license for Bessman Okafor.
All right, moving to evidence, Exhibit K at this time.
Mr. Davis? I'm sorry? Mr. Clark?
No objection.
All right, it'll be admitted as the next numbered exhibit. Thank you.
And, ma'am, where was that ID located?
The ID was in the wallet, which was in the glove box on the interior of the vehicle.
Showing you, again, same exhibit, so the photograph number 1. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that to be?
I recognize this to be a photograph showing a paper that was collected from the interior of the vehicle.
Okay. And do you remember where this was in the vehicle?
It was in the center console.
And last, photograph number 2. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize that photograph to be?
This is a photograph that I took of a photograph that was in the center console of the vehicle.
Now, what, if anything, did you do after that, after collecting these items?
After collecting the items and finishing with the vehicle, that was it for that day.
Okay, and did you do anything else in terms of processing the vehicle?
Not besides what I had mentioned with Layton's DNA and the evidence.
Okay, let's talk about that for a little bit. Do you remember what areas you processed for DNA?
I would have to refer to my report.
Okay. You have a copy of it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you recall, after referring to your report, do you recall what areas you processed to attempt to get DNA?
Yes.
What areas?
I processed, by swabbing, the interior driver's side door handle, the interior passenger side door handle, the steering wheel, and the gear shift.
Okay, and again, did you use the same process? You use a Q-tip type device?
Yes.
And then what did you do with those swabs?
Those swabs were placed into the swab boxes, which were later packaged, and then all of the swabs were submitted to our evidence unit.
Okay, and again, you don't do any additional testing other than just collecting the swabs?
That's correct.
Now, in terms of processing for prints, what did you do?
Processing for latent fingerprints, again, I processed the exterior of the vehicle first by utilizing black powder and the latent brush, which I dipped in the black powder, and then I twirled the brush over the surface, the entire exterior of the vehicle. When it came time for me to process for latents on the interior of the vehicle, I processed various areas commonly touched, like the door frames, windows, rearview mirror, and other commonly touched areas in the vehicle.
Okay. And were you able to develop any prints as a result of that?
Yes.
All right. Do you recall specifically what areas you were able to develop prints?
Yes, I developed several prints from the exterior of the vehicle, and then on the interior of the vehicle, I was able to develop prints on a cologne bottle that was in the glove box, as well as the visor mirrors on the driver's side and the passenger side, as well as the radio faceplate.
Okay. Did you do anything else in terms of processing the vehicle?
Not that I can recall.
A moment, Your Honor. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
Good afternoon, Officer Welch.
Good afternoon.
I'll try to make it pretty brief. Excuse me. One of the pictures that was part of the composite of the state that you took from the car in the matter before us today. Do you recall that picture being a picture of a traffic ticket?
I don't recall. I'd have to look at the photograph.
Okay, may I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Taking a photo out of state's composite, I guess it's H. And may I publish, Your Honor?
You may. I think it's now, H is now 27, I think.
Yes, 27. I'm sorry. Identification H, Exhibit 27. Excuse me. I'm going to get good with this before this is over. Don't want to make you dizzy. Again, you remember taking a picture of this item, correct?
Yes, I do.
And it shows as a document that has to do with apparently a matter that has to do with a void driver's license or a traffic ticket, correct?
Yes, it does appear to be.
All right. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Clark. Any redirect?
I'm showing you what's been marked as Exhibit Q.
I'm sorry, Q? Mr. Mallett, Q?
Q.
Judge, I have no objection to this being admitted.
Thank you.
And just do you recognize what that is?
No.
Yeah, are there markings on there?
Yes,
All right, do you know whose markings they are?
I do not know.
Okay. This one. The wrong one. It's B. I apologize. I'm showing you Exhibit V.
Okay.
You recognize that?
Yes, I recognize this one.
What do you recognize that to be?
I recognize that. I had placed in an envelope a CD/DVD that had contained photographs that I took of the shoe tracks out on scene at 503 Bernardine in Ocala.
Your Honor, I'm moving to Evidence Exhibit V at this time.
Mr. Davis, any objection? Mr. Clark? No objection. All right, it'll be admitted as the next numbered exhibit.
Number 29.
Thank you.
No further questions, Your
Do you wish this witness to remain under subpoena?
Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you are excused. You remain under subpoena subject to recall in this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been sitting there about 35 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and give you a break at this time for your first afternoon break, about a 15-minute break. Please do not discuss the case. Leave your pads on the chair. Please be seated. 15-minute break, folks, unless there's something we need to go over. So let's take the break while you can.
Thank you.
Might want to look at that exhibit they just had, because that was pulled apart by both Mr. Malik and by Mr. Davis. Make sure they're all on there. Those numbers are written, no, they're right, I think they're still here on the table, but I think it's all over the place.